Hey everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. This is Gina. Well, Trump had another insane, ranting Fox News interview today with Maria Bartriromo, or Bartiromo, excuse me. And I'm going to play a couple of clips for you in just a minute, but the most talked about moment came when Trump said the quiet part out loud again. So take a listen, and then we'll talk about it.
They want $3.5 billion for the mail-in votes. Okay, universal mail-in ballots. 3.5 trillion. They want $25 billion for the post office. Now they need that money in order to have the post office work, so it can take all of these millions and millions of ballots. Now, in the meantime, they aren't getting there. By the way, those are just two items. But if they don't get those two items, that means you can't have universal mail-in voting because they're not equipped to have it.
So there you have it. Trump is openly admitting that he's defunding the United States Postal Service in an effort to undermine mail-in voting and the upcoming election. So just to give you a little background, Trump made someone by the name of Louis DeJoy, or it might be Louis DeJoy. I've never heard it pronounced before, to be honest. He made him the Postmaster General. So who is this guy? Well, he was a Trump donor and big fundraiser. And he also holds somewhere between $30 to $75 million as a financial stake in a company called XPO Logistics, which is a transportation and logistics company. They're also a contractor of the U.S. Postal Service. So say it with me now. Can you all say conflict of interest? Very good, girls and boys. So postal workers, this is where it's really getting frightening. Postal workers and union officials have confirmed now that the Postal Service is removing mail sorting machines. And it's unclear, they said, how many machines are actually being removed and why. Nobody's actually giving them an answer. Well, I think we got our answer this morning. I think Trump made it very clear why those machines are being removed. Because he knows that if mail-in voting is allowed, there's no way. I mean, more than likely, Republicans are going to get wiped out. It's unbelievable. But he went on. I mean, this rant was just crazy. He went on to warn of a depression like we've never seen before if Biden is elected. Where has this man been? I mean, he's the president of the United States. You would think that maybe he would be paying attention. I mean, we have nearly 30 million American families last month who said that they didn't have enough food. We have still almost 1 million, just a hair under, Americans who are still unemployed. Okay, so that number, yes, while it's gone down, the new jobless claims went down, the continued jobless claims and the permanent job losses are much higher. There are companies, they are estimating 40% of small businesses are never coming back. Those jobs are not coming back. And CNBC, they recently reported that 32% of Americans had outstanding housing payments at the beginning of this month, at the beginning of August. That included previous months as well. It doesn't mean that it was an outstanding payment from August. It could have been a rolling payment, in which case people are getting closer and closer to eviction. They said that August was the fourth consecutive month where people couldn't make either their full payment, so they made a partial payment, or they couldn't make any payment at all. And according to Morning Consult, they said approximately 5.4 million people, 5.4 million Americans will not be able to pay their bills by the end of this month unless they find a job or the stimulus payments and the extra unemployment benefits are reinstated. They said that the average person who had missed a housing payment were behind by at least $1,000. So clearly they need more help. And meanwhile, Trump, and I'm going to show you this clip, but he's on Fox this morning touting the stock market, talking about how great the stock market is doing. Those are wealthy people. Does he have a clue that the average American does not have money invested in the stock market? That most people, even if they had a 401k or an IRA or something that was invested in some way into the stock market, more than likely, they're pulling that money out right now. They're willing to face the early withdrawal penalties somewhere down the road because they don't have money for their bills. There was a story shared on The Hill this morning, on the Hill news outlet, and they were talking about a woman who had to make a decision between either paying her bill, I believe it was her electricity bill or water or something, or buying diapers for her baby. This is America. This is the United States of America we're talking about. And it is going downhill so fast. I mean, a Great Depression like we've never seen. Does he realize that's what we're in? He is freaking clueless. And then he talked again about COVID just going away. Poof, going away. So I'm going to play for you real quick this part about the Great Depression that he sees coming if Biden gets elected, as if he's not in charge right now, as if we're not already in that state and he's out golfing. So take a listen or take a watch if you're on YouTube.
You will see a depression the likes of which you have never seen. You have to go back to 1929. I guess it doesn't get too much worse than that, and you'll just see that. And frankly, we've had a tremendous market. You and I have talked about that, the stock market. Think of it, we're almost back to where we were.
So he goes on, he was ranting about the Green New Deal, which Biden did not even agree to. Biden has not signed on to. Why he's talking about the Green New Deal, which he calls the New Green Deal. But he is going on and on about how they don't want cows. They're crazy. These animal activists, they don't want cows. No, we do want cows. That's the whole point. You apparently don't want cows. You want steaks. We want cows. We just don't want to send them to slaughter. We don't want to dismember and slaughter living beings that then give us disease. So yeah, we're fine with the cows. It's you we don't want. It's Trump we don't want. Then he goes on, he talks about how the market's going to crash. The market's going to crash if Biden wins. He's going to tax people $4 trillion. Okay, if any of you heard my recent podcast, I talked about how they've studied it and there is $32 trillion that is being hid, as they estimate, offshore in offshore accounts by these wealthy, selfish bastards who refuse to pay their taxes. So cry me a freaking river. Trump cut the corporate tax rate. It was 35% when he got in office. He cut it down to 21%. The majority of his tax scam went to the top 1%. That is just a fact. The Congressional Budget Office laid it out. They made it very clear. The majority of that tax scam went to the most wealthy. So he gave more money to people who are already hiding trillions of dollars offshore and who exploit all these loopholes to get out of paying any taxes whatsoever. And you've got mega corporations like Amazon and Netflix and drug companies like Eli Lilly and Chevron. People are literally destroying our country, polluting our air, polluting our water. They paid zero in federal taxes over the last couple of years, thanks to Trump's tax scam. But he's going to cry us a river about Biden wanting to raise the corporate tax rate. Are you kidding me? And he's not even raising it to where it was. It was 35%. Biden is only talking about raising it to 28%. That is nothing. That is ridiculous. Fortune news outlet, not that long ago, basically said that after Trump's tax scam went into effect, the average effective tax rate for corporations was 11.3%. And if you're not familiar with that term, what that means is after they've exploited every loophole, after they've written off all of their fancy lunches, probably with politicians that they use to get what they want, like the Trump tax scam, after all those write-offs, after all those loopholes, effectively they paid on average 11.3%, far lower than any average American. So give me a freaking break. Womp womp and thoughts and prayers. I don't care. And that was according to a study from the Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy. So, Biden raising it a minuscule amount to not even what it was, I think it's not nearly enough, not anywhere near enough. But because Trump cut all these people's taxes, all these billionaires who literally don't need a dime, who could never work again, lay on the couch, eating bonbons, watching Fox News, and still never run out of money. But yet you've got millions of Americans who are on the verge of being homeless. You've got millions of Americans who cannot feed their children properly. You've got millions of Americans who have lost their health care and are terrified that they might get COVID. And he just doesn't freaking get it. And to just say, oh, it's just going to disappear. What is he doing to make it disappear? Really? I mean, oh my gosh. And then to top it all off, take a listen to this. I think this really flew under everybody's radar because Trump was talking over her. But Maria Bartriromo made a very unusual statement, and I feel inappropriate. So take a listen.
$4 trillion in taxes. So I don't think, in the old days when you were... Go ahead.
Yep. He is trying to appeal to the
in the old days when you were going to build,
Mr. President.
When you were...
So hopefully you caught that. If not, rewind and go back. But she says there, when Trump is talking about Biden increasing taxes, she's talking about how he's trying to appeal to Black voters. What does that even mean? Seriously, Fox News does the worst job of thinly veiling their racism and bigotry. It's like, just take it off. Just take off the veil. We see you. We see you. We know who you are. We recognize it. We recognize it for all its ugliness. You don't need to cover up at all. You're not doing a good job of it. What does that mean? Biden wants to raise taxes because he's trying to attract the Black vote. I really don't even know where she's going with that. Knowing Fox News, knowing their racist hosts, I'm going to assume that she is getting at, maybe more social programs that would be created with additional taxes. Yeah, you know what? Everyone Every average American would like to see billionaires taxed at a higher rate so that everybody else can maybe not have to work multiple jobs, maybe be able to cover a $400 emergency if something should happen, if their car should break down, if they had an unexpected medical bill. Why is that so horrible? I'm so sick of all of these people thumping their Bible and pretending that they are people of God and people of faith, and we're the party of family values. Really? Is it family values to deny people in need? Is it Christian to deny people food, shelter, clothing? Did Jesus really say, yeah, I would really love to give you some bread and wine, but you're just going to need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps? Jesus. Jesus, God. Anyway, guys, so yeah, that was just nuts. I mean, the whole thing was just a shit show. So anyway, as always, like, share, subscribe, and I will talk to you soon. Take care. Thanks for listening to Plants and Politics. The only way we can take our country and power back is to spread the truth and build an army. So remember to like, follow, subscribe, and share on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks again.